Hello, Caitlin, and nice to meet you in cyberspace. This will be some individualized feedback for milestone 1 and also week 3 in general. I'll also take a look at your wireframes in last week's discussion, and I usually follow the rubric pretty carefully, so I always do. If you want, you can open up the rubric and follow along. For 3.2 and 3.3, it's maybe not worth it. They have 2 categories, which you either are proficient in or not. They're kind of binary. But in any case, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me, and I look forward to seeing how your website shapes up. Caitlin, I realize that this is a work in progress, as you note in some of your submissions. These are great wireframes. I know that I think you started with, you mentioned that you started to have the navigation range down the side here. That could work. As you move through the class, test your pages on a variety of devices if possible. If you've uploaded something to the web server, there's no reason why you can't look at it on your phone using your phone browser. So do that as the class proceeds. I like that you put the navigation and the logo at the top. It's pretty conventional, but it works out to be pretty well. It works out well across platforms and formats. So I think this is a real possibility too. I like that you have indicated images. I'm assuming that that's what that is, that span the width of the page, however wide that might be. You've got social media icons here on the edge. Typically they're reserved for the footer. That's a part of the page that we really haven't discussed yet. It's not necessary in this class, but in week 5 and 6 you'll read about them, and it would be great to include them. Here you've got copyright statement. Here's another place for social media icons. It's in the footer. Anyway, I'm glad that you've been proactive and have anticipated it. Now, your navigation will become this little box with bars, the symbol for navigation, automatically if you use an unordered list to create it. And that's one of the things that you can see when you view your page on your phones. So, again, another reason to continue to do that. In general, I like the pages that, this is tied to your journal statement, but I like the pages where there are fewer images and they're large. Now, if this is a family place, you probably want to generate some visual excitement, so maybe having a lot of pictures of menu items is appropriate. How you place things will give your client their desired character. I'm not sure if that makes sense. So if you've characterized your restaurant as a family place, maybe a lot of busy images is appropriate. If it's an upscale restaurant, then perhaps you want fewer images, more atmospheric, interiors, exteriors, that kind of thing. Caitlin, I can view your page in Safari for the Apple, for the Mac. And it allows me in the developer mode to view your source code. You can do the same thing too. All browsers are equipped with a feature like this. And so I can view your code and live preview your page at the same time. Hey, I like how this shifts slightly and this remains fixed. So I see your navigation will remain fixed on the left and your content would slide up and down. Hey, that could work. It overcomes the objection I would have that your navigation would become truncated, but you've actually condensed it into a very small area here, which is likely to appear the same way regardless of how the window is sized from device to device. So good going on that. I see ample meta tags, but with respect to the rubric, there's only 2 things asked, and they are, have you applied inline styling? Well, you sure have, and then some. I see that you have the corporate color on some of the text, so proficient with that. And then, of course, you've been able to upload it to GeoCities. It looks like you have them organized in modules. Just curious to see what I get when I go to Module 4. Have you been working on that? No, not yet. But your file management is promising, and it looks like you have organized things so that you're not overwriting HTML files. Good job. Caitlin, this is good too. I see your visual sitemap, And then, really importantly, I see your HTML sitemap, where each of your linked pages has a URL associated with it. Now, even if that's dummy at this point, let's understand that this is a work in progress. And you already have a navigation scheme going, probably based on that unordered list. Is that correct? Let me just take a look here. Okay, one thing I noticed here too is that GeoCities places a script, a JavaScript, in your code. Here it is, I've highlighted it. Don't be alarmed, it's there to make your page visible and searchable. Another thing that GeoCities places on your page, of course, is this little comment down here. Again, nothing is for free, right? One way or another, they're going to get you. Good job. It looks like you're on a promising start to organizing your files. In other words, your file management. I think you've been conscientious about, and you have a sitemap, both a visual one and a coded sitemap. Caitlin, your market research and planning is superior. You've identified your demographics clearly. You've thought of questions to ask both focus groups as well as the client. You've thought of other types of market research and even given me a few that I hadn't heard of before. And I also like, the articulation of your response is superb. You've included references down here at the end, which I really appreciate. You thought of Google's tools and a few others that, again, I hadn't heard of. So thanks for the recommendations. Your research technological tools, think about technological tools that may be accessible for design types, such as ourselves. Google Analytics, surely. Also, tools that are free and available to all of us, such as the U.S. Census. And then there are some paid tools, such as Nielsen. Look forward to seeing how your website shapes up.